All right. Greetings, YouTube. Good evening. How is everyone? Sorry for the late start. How the hell are you guys? It's good to see you. It's good to be seen by you. Had a bit of a technical difficulty. As in, technically, it was not a difficulty, but, you know, things happen. So good evening. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome back. I hope everybody had a swell weekend. Mine was interesting, to say the least. But I got through it. So welcome. Welcome to City 17. It's safer here. But anyway, what are you guys up to? How is everyone? I hope everyone is caring for everyone I have talked to, everyone I have brought up the idea of let's do, oh dear, I lost everyone. Shucks. Oh well. Everyone I have brought up the idea of flooding the little libraries with Lulu print OD&D books and AD&D books and dropping them off at your favorite local used bookstore and that sort of thing, thinks it's a really keen idea. So I hope you guys are keeping that idea going forward. I hope you I hope you are kind of sticking with that. That would be awesome. I plan on doing it. I have a lot of stuff going on, but I do plan on doing it. Was that excuse me. Was at a wedding reception this weekend when I got a message from the home front that our air conditioner had died. Now, wherever you are, you might be thinking, oh, your air conditioner died. So what? Would you just test it or something? No, folks, I live in Central Florida, specifically in the Orlando region. The white Christmas here is sand. So, yeah, it's been mighty hot. You know, days approaching the 90s. So, needless to say, that was a problem. But because I have one of the best friends in all the world, it got taken care of. It wasn't terribly expensive. It turns out that there was a buildup of goop that was causing a sensor to not settle. And it was literally not something that I, the end user, would have ever. This is not like, well, I forgot to change the filter and it froze. Or, you know, I forgot to flush the pan out and it clogged. It was a 1 in a million thing. So the guy came, and let me tell you, this dude who showed up at my house, I'm just going to jump right to the end. I'm not going to bury the lead. D&D nerd. New school D&D nerd. Just started playing. But extra crispy, if you're out there, if you're watching the live stream, if you saw this, welcome aboard, buddy. Welcome to the monkey house. So, yeah, you know, it's kind of, we've kind of hit an interesting point where just the random people you meet in the world are like you and I. I figure, like, if this was 40 years ago and my dad had a tech in, he'd talk to him about fishing or, you know, football or something. And I would have talked to the dude about those things too, because those are also things that I dig. But, I mean, my primary thing is tabletop gaming. So as soon as I knew he was cool, like, I showed him the studio and stuff, and he's like, oh my God, oh, this is so cool. You know, he dug on the Dwarven Forge, and it was pretty good. He may even join the Monday night game. So, yeah, that was very cool. That was very cool. So, even though it was a pain in the ass because Friday night the AC died, and then Friday night the AC died, And we were without it most of Saturday. And we had to wait. I'm sorry. Saturday the AC died. We were out it until like 8:30 Sunday when they got here. 8:30 in the evening when they got here. And then, you know, but it wasn't this painful thing. It was like I hung out with a D&D player who also happened to do air conditioning. And boy, couldn't that be a fun a fun relationship to foster. But no, seriously. It was pretty awesome. And it was nice to bond with a fellow nerd. So I rather enjoyed that aspect of it. The wedding reception that I was a participant at, two friends of mine got married, and I had 3D printed them the centerpiece for their cake. It was a henge. It was just the back half of it was the stone pillars, and it was open on one side, and you could see it. And the miniatures that they had used when they played an IRL game years ago here at my table that I painted up for them were what they wanted instead of the traditional bride and groom. And then I painted one of their dog. They got these little doggy adventurer minis that somebody put out. I don't know who. They were a Kickstarter thing, doggies and dungeons and doggies. I don't know. But I painted it. I painted up the terrain piece for them and flocked it in places to make it look like moss was growing up, ancient ruins. And then I have these little 6mm magnets, little rare earth magnets, and I drilled out the bases, stuck the magnets in there, so they would be flush with the bottom, and put the like magnets in the base, so they clicked down to that. So every time someone picked it up to move it, it wouldn't go flying anywhere. So it was a big hit. And I got a text message from the bride. She pings me and she's like, "Our wedding coordinator wants to know if you can do more of that." Well, yes, I can. So maybe I'll get to make a little bit of money with my 3D printer. I don't harbor any illusions about it, like actually doing anything. That would require like luck and fortune and things like that just generally speaking don't happen to me. But hey, let's talk about something positive. We have 3 days of Advent calendar to catch up on. And this is the last time we will have a gap, because Christmas Eve, Friday, will be the last day of Advent. Now, if you follow my musical Christmas Advent calendar that I put on YouTube, which is not gaming related. Hey, Samalama. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool too. It's not gaming related at all. You will know that I do 25 days. Yes, I will creep out here on Christmas morning or afternoon, and I will upload I don't upload. I will put the link to the song on Christmas. Christmas Advent is only supposed to be 24. I do 25 just because that's how I roll. But this Advent calendar, which you guys have been following along now, the Star Wars Christmas Advent calendar, yeah, check it out, is the traditional 24 days. So let's hop over to the desktop view there, so you can see the calendar, all nice and neat. And we left off last Friday, I think. Yeah. So 17th, 18th, 19th, and 18th, 19th, and today the 20th. So the 18th is arguably the second coolest fighter ship in the entire Star Wars canon, and that is this guy right here, the Snowspeeder I love the snow speeder. This is like the Harrier jump jet of Star Wars vehicles. I like it a lot. It's got that 2-man crew with a rear tail gunner. Now, if you dive deep into the lore, you know it's like a close air support bomber. Which, why the Rebels weren't using this thing like constantly everywhere, who knows? But it's technically an air speeder, because if you remember General Reekin talking to Han about going out to looking for Luke, we're having problems adapting our speeders to the cold. So these things are actually, not just snow speeders. They're air speeders that were adapted to the cold for use on Hoth. So we got one of those. The next one we got, I didn't think you could do with a tiny bit of Lego, but God bless them, they did it. That's right. It's a Tauntaun. The big camel sort of like a combination of camels and kangaroos from Empire Strikes Back, and there he is. Old Tauntaun. There, they used a little grippy thing as his two little forearm, 4 feet kind of things. There's his horn, and yes, he has a red nose. Rudolph. And so you might guess, oh, we're getting an Empire Strikes Back. Yes, we are. And finally, I'm 99.99% sure this kind of mundane looking piece here is supposed to be the shield generator from Hoth, which we only see through the gun sight of the AT-AT. Target the generators, maximum firepower, zatch, and then they explode. So that's what we got there. So Empire Strikes Back themed bits. And what will the last 5 days entail? Or the last 4 days, I should say. What will the last 4 days entail? I don't know. You'll just have to keep coming back. So that's that. That's what's going on there. Something else I'm going to do on air. So I'm going to open this bottle of Framboise and enjoy. This is Lindemann's Raspberry Lambic Beer. It's basically carbonated scotch. It's very, very, very good. It is quite the tasty cordial. I'm not going to drink it out of this bottle, though. I have a glass. I'm civilized. This was my payment for 3D printing, painting, flocking, assembling a piece of terrain, and then likewise painstakingly painting a fantasy Boston Terrier miniature. But I have this cool thing. Where did I? Oh no. Oh, there it went. No, this guy, Damien, the faintly plasticky. They're fine. This is the coolest corkscrew. This is called a screw pull. So you can never say Bill Sylvie doesn't have screw pulls. Well, I just have the one. So we're just gonna get this open. This is a Christmassy treat, but Christmas treats are for Christmas. And before anyone asks, my dear friend Rusty Schaefer paid for the Uber to the wedding and then to the reception. The reception was within walking distance of a local Irish pub. So we pre-celebrated. We primed the pumps. Swung by there. Had some nachos. All right. Get our glass. That is a lovely color, too. And before anyone asks, no, this is not non-alcoholic. This is not, you know. Oh well, with the kids like that? If by kids you mean people of age 21 at the youngest, then yes, they would love it. To your health, audience. Oh, that's good. It has been a long time since I've had some Lindemans. That is super duper tasty. Irish nachos. Yes, it's. I mean, it's your standard corn chips, but also the dip, rather than like queso, was spinach. It was a spinach and like white cheese dip. I promise you, if you ever make it down to the Orlando area, get yourself over to Winter Park and have dinner. Have like a full multi-course meal at Fiddler's Green and try their nachos. That is good. That's good, bro. What you drinking, Samalama? Hey, Vinny. Sorry, I wasn't ignoring you, my friend. Good week of Christmas to you, too. Let's see. I'm going to take a quick gander at something here. I don't think we're going to make it to 1,000 subs before the first of the year. 831 subs is what we're sitting at. 831. That's closer than I had any hope to believe might happen prior to the first of the year. And there's still 2 weeks of 2021 left. All right. I'm not saying we're going to pick up 169 new subs to the channel and I can announce on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, hey, we got to 1,000 subs. It's January 1. Here's the plan for the Great Underground Virtual Gaming Convention. I'm not saying that's going to happen. It will not. But if it did, oh man, I might even have to do a break to get a strike. Although no, I wouldn't do that. I would not play Kool and the Gang's Celebrate and just get a strike. See, it used to be you got a strike on YouTube. You fixed whatever the problem was. The strike was taken off. YouTube is so in bed with the people that make the strikes that you, like, even if they say, okay, all right, Universal Music Group, we agree, Bill Sylvie didn't wasn't trying to rip us off, so, he deleted the video, so it's cool. No, that is not the case. They will still hold that over your head, and they have a random number of strikes that we arbitrarily decide, and you're done. So I don't know what would happen. Hail Lobster Michael Connor, greetings to you. I don't even know why I'm throwing the horns. Oh, that tastes good. We can't let what's in there get lonely. So the Lindemans, for those of you who are interested, this is Belgian. This is the raspberry flavor. What is the ABV on this? It doesn't say. thought that had to be on the bottle. It does not say what the ABV is. Oh well. I guess we'll find out if I nose first into the keyboard. Greetings, Chris. Good to see you. Do I have Odyssey or Rumble? No, I do not. When I pay for the StreamYard, where I can stream up to 3 places, I will probably go to Odyssey. It'll be Facebook, YouTube, Odyssey, multi-streaming. And then if I get kicked in the nuts by YouTube or Facebook or both, then I can just, I'll already be streaming there. But that's a thing that'll happen. The Creek Cherry Lambic, yeah, the Creek. Chris is absolutely right. Chris is saying Lindemann's Framboise is great, but the Creek is the best. Now, the Creek is very good, but honestly, their Palm is the best. Not Palm. Not Pond. Pum. Pomme. Apple. It's basically a liquid Granny Smith apple with alcohol in it, and I do recommend. So, that is my favorite, but they're all good. Like, there's no bad Lindemann's Framboise. Lindemann's beers. And they do make normal size, like a 12-ounce bottle of it. This is basically the equivalent of, how many ounces is this? 1 pint, 9. So this will be like 3 beers worth of alcohol consumption for me. And you're here for it. God, I love my viewers. So, speaking to Volcano God and I were the folks hanging around. I hope I didn't dox you there, buddy. Volcano God and I talked a lot about the Johnny Dungeons and Dragons seed, Johnny D&D seed plan. And as we were talking about this at the wedding, we're walking around. It was in a park. We stroll out, and what's on the path near one of the entrances to the park where the wedding is, but a little free library kiosk. Guys, look, I know how it goes. Like, 10% of people who voice their support of a thing will actually do the thing. And I'm not calling out. That's a statistical fact. That's not me busting anybody's chops. All right. But, oh, good evening, Padre. Now I need to see if the LCBO has Lindemann's, and I need to stop saying swears. So, well, I think the good Lord was okay with everyone tippling a little bit as long as it wasn't to excess. So you should definitely check it out. In order of goodness, tied for first, Framboise, Creek, and Palm Lambics. There are no second and third places. They're all tied for first. Anyway, Michael, I'm going to answer your question about the lost sweat in just a minute. Anyway, I think it was meant to be, okay? Even if nobody else does, I now know where there's at least 5 or 6 of those little free libraries, and OD&D and AD&D books are going into those in 2022. Now, somebody made a comment. I posted on a forum, and somebody said, my sister is in charge of one of those. And I said, oh, you should print some out and put them there. And he said, it's kind of a conservative neighborhood. It might start a satanic panic thing. Like, who's leaving these in here? I have seen crap in Little Free Library. I have seen Scientology books. I have seen political books from the far end of the spectrum. On the nice and normal side, I have seen, oh, hey, IR, Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas, my friend. I have seen a lot of different books. There were like cookbooks and some kids' storybooks and so forth in this one, but now, you know what? Here's a question, and maybe I should have the Dungeon Minister on like the stream one of these days. But maybe the Padre can make a comment here in the comments thread. Is a satanic panic a thing anymore? Is it a thing anymore? That's the question of the night. Do you live in an area where there's still blue-haired ladies who see you going into the local comic shop, or hear you and your friends talking about playing D&D, and they give you the "that's going to hell" look? The Dungeon Minister says, the one in front of our church keeps attracting material from other denominations, including some rather off ones. Well, I'm not here to have a fight about denominations. I don't know which particular toppings you like on your spiritual pizza there. I mean, I was born into and raised in a Baptist family, and my wife and I went Methodist. She went to an Episcopalian church. I think her family's tried a Lutheran church near them a few years back, and eventually started going to our Methodist church. Celestian, it's just plain panic for everything now. Yeah. Panic on the streets of London. Panic on the streets of Birmingham. I should stop that because, again, copyright strike. Those little libraries end up being a dumping ground for unwanted books. Well, these are wanted books in that I want people to have them. And it's not just the little libraries that I'm going to assault with these things, mind you. It's also going to be it's also going to be in used bookstores, like hitting used bookstores with copies, with these printed out copies. Anglican, I don't know if it was ever a thing for us. I don't know either. Religious Democrats, my grandma one had issues with D&D. Oh, that's a good point, Dungeon Minister. If someone curates them like the one we have, garbage books get cleared out. And remember, guys, you can just leave these places like tracts, like flyers, Go, if you don't have a little library near you, go to Starbucks. I promise you got one of those. And leave a rule book and a supplements book there. Yeah, it's $7 out of your pocket. But again, we're pushing D&D here. Anyway, Michael Connor, my religious Democrats, my grandma one, had issues with D&D. So, it's funny you bring that up. Now my my dad at least was a rock-ribbed conservative, and I don't think he really understood what to make of D&D. Everywhere you find chick tracks, leave rule books. Yes. Yes. Father, you. Oh, gosh. Leave them in a popular geocache. That's a good one too. I don't know of any around here. I mean, I don't geocache, so I don't know where there are any. But that's an idea. You could put them in a Ziploc bag. So many good ideas you guys are coming up with, and you guys do it. Damien saying it's the SJW panic now. Yeah, it really is. Anyway, yeah. So my old man was not a fan of D&D. Although I will say, a couple of times before my dad passed away, Dad and I played, and I got him his own base sets and a couple of boosters. Dad and I used to play Axis and Allies miniatures from Wizards. It's Avalon Hill, but it's Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro. And if you're not familiar with Axis and Allies miniatures, it is a dirt simple war game. Like you get like two-sided battle mats that are hexed out, and the hexes are like 3 inches across. It's crazy how big the hexes are. And you get some miniatures, you get Axis miniatures, and you get Allies miniatures, and you have like a battle of tanks versus tanks. So I feel like there's bridges to be crossed, and I think in this day and age, there's just no point. I just don't see it. Like, I don't see people this day getting, like, looking at Dungeons and Dragons and saying, that's of the devil now. It's like, how? Yeah, but we're not going to fight that fight again. Chris says, grew up in a pretty devout Catholic family. No one cared about D&D being demonic. You see, demonic. No one cared about D&D being demonic. It's basically math and bad acting. Yeah. I mean, I think one of the best, like, digs at D&D ever, as far as the whole moral panic thing. I actually had less to do with moral panics and just about nerds in general. And that was on the Venture Brothers. Now, if you don't know what the Venture Brothers was, the Venture Brothers, it ran for 5 seasons, and it was on TV for 17 years. But it was a brilliantly produced, and it had some serious voice talent voicing that show. But it was a spoof of Marvel Comics, and particularly it was a spoof of Johnny Quest. I can't say enough good about the Venture Brothers. It was awesome. But the main character, Dr. Venture, is he was a boy adventurer like Johnny Quest, living in his father's shadow. But real talk, his dad was not the Dr. Benton Quest type, or maybe he was in public, but like, he was a swinger, and like the bad guys that they would beat up, like when the family bodyguard Kano would take Dr. Venture like off camera, they'd turn on the bad guy henchmen and murder them. So yeah, it was darkly funny. But there's an episode. So Dr. Venture is our age, our age, and he's in his 40s, 50s. There's an episode where they flash back to college and they're playing Dungeons and Dragons. And one of the guys who later turns out to be a nemesis for this particular episode they're having the flashback in, he gets mad at advances Dr. Venture is making to an NPC that he had named after his unrequited college crush at the time. And Dr. Venture yells, "Wait a minute. You're getting mad at me for having pretend sex with your not girlfriend on graph paper?" I just thought it was a fantastic line. I love it. Vastly, criminally underrated show, which I guess is probably why those dirty so-and-sos at Cartoon Network decided to throw it away. So joke's on them. I don't watch Cartoon Network anymore. I only watched it for that. So you lost my click, dudes. You lost my click. Oh, here's a bit of information. And this you probably already knew, Dungeon Minister. Did you know that Ozzy Osbourne was an Anglican? I believe Ozzy Osbourne is an Anglican. That was always, I saw, okay, so generally anything out of the Gawker sphere I think is garbage and you should not pay attention to. It's crap and it's bad, and you should feel bad if you think Gawker is a good source of information ever. But I saw an article about them in their entertainment, whatever, and the title was a question, and it presented, was Black Sabbath the first Christian heavy metal band? And they pointed out none of the members of Black Sabbath were actually Satanists or pagans or any of that. They're all, I don't want to say they're church, I mean, full stop, Ozzy Osbourne, train wreck of a human being. And he'll be the first person to tell you. I'm not saying these are good Christian boys. I'm just saying everybody who interpreted all of their lyrics as being evil and satanic. I mean, let's take War Pigs, for example. Everybody focuses in on Ozzy yelling, Satan laughing spreads his wings. He's not saying this is funny, Satan's funny, nuclear war is awesome. Ozzy's saying that there are people who will feed you, common people, you and me, into a death machine. And when it's all over and a mushroom cloud is hanging over every city, only one person is going to think that's cool. And you can make the case he wasn't even talking about Satan laughing. He was talking about the rumble of an atom bomb and the mushroom cloud spreading out. Satan laughing spreads its wings. After Forever is a Christian song. I don't care what you think. God is Dead is a Christian song off of their farewell album. These are not evil people. I think it was Scott Ian of Anthrax who back in the 90s said, look, if you're looking for like evil in any kind of music, it's probably New Age. I mean, even the bands who like say that they're, saying it, that's obvious. Like you see that coming. Like, Wyndham Hill, it's subtle. Vincent Ferner is a born-again Christian. Oh, good point. I know younger people who think that the attempt in the 80s... yeah, okay, so you bring up a good point. Tipper Gore. The PMRC was spearheaded by Tipper Gore. Tipper, my husband, was the Democrat vice president and the presidential candidate in 1999 and 2000, Gore. So, but I just think at this point that Dungeons and Dragons has risen to the point. It has spread out so far across the pop culture landscape. I could honestly not imagine anyone in this day and age who wouldn't think that Dungeons and Dragons was anything other than elf games and math for nerds. I mean, what is the Dungeon Master's Guide but a collection of actuary tables with fantasy stuff wrapped around it, right? So that's just my take on it. He plays... Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, okay. Alice Cooper. Jeez. I blame this. And I mean, he was... he was good friends with Pat Boone. And when Pat Boone recorded his metal album, he went to a couple of Alice Cooper concerts and he was like, this is hilarious. This is like theater. This is like opera. This is like a dark horror opera. But orcs are racist. Yeah. And what do we say, kids, to the people who say orcs are racist? Orcs are destructive. They're invasive. They're evil. They're enslavers. They're rapacious. And if you look at orcs and say, oh, those are supposed to be black people. The guy playing D&D is not the racist. It's you. It's you. If you look at all the qualities of evil monsters and say, that's supposed to be this marginalized group over here, isn't it? You're the racist. You can take people who have that opinion, you can take them right up to that point. There's a SpongeBob thing where there's a villain, there's a super villain showing something to Patrick. And he's like, is this such and such? And Patrick's like, yup. And this has your name on it. Yup. So this means you blah, blah. Yup. So what are you? I'm opposite of what you're trying to tell me. You can get them right up to the point where you hit them with all the facts and then you ask them, so then... And they're like, old D&D is problematic. God bless you. What race are the orcs supposed to be? Yeah. Ask him that. Ask him that. No, you're right, Chris. And so the payment for all my hard work is now within me. And I mean, ultimately, how can I argue with that? That nourishes me. No, it doesn't. It fattens me. It damages both my brain and my liver. But anyway, so I told you guys about the air conditioning guy being a D&D nerd and him being in awe of the studio. I got to get this place cleaned up. I'm going to do another studio tour video, like a pre-recorded one. I'm going to show you guys like a short form video and show you around. But in the first of the year right now, it is a disaster out here. Like what you see around me, like this frame of video, that's like the only part of my office that's organized right now. I will tell you guys a cool Christmas gift that I got today. And I say I got the gift today. I didn't get the gift today in that it was like, here, it's an early present. You can have this. But so once upon a time, Ballantine Books with Lucasfilm put out 3 sets of sketchbooks. Or not 3 sets. They put out 3 sketchbooks. When Star Wars came out, they put out the Star Wars sketchbook. And I got it for my birthday in 1978. And oh my gosh. It's the most amazing thing. And it's early artwork sketches from Star Wars. So, and there's a lot of text. Like, I used to like blow people's minds, little 8-year-old me, when I would say, hey, you like Star Wars, right? Well, yeah. That's not Han Solo's ship. The Rebel Blockade Runner was Han Solo's ship. They wanted something a little bit more, or a little bit less neat and tidy looking. So they made the Millennium Falcon Han Solo ship. And it wasn't supposed to have the big hammerhead cockpit. It was straight like a space capsule. And they'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? All that, and then there's sketches by Joe Johnson and all of these great early artists. Like the original X-Wing had a bubble canopy, but they deleted that because they were getting camera reflections in it. So they went to the flat paneled canopies in X-Wings. So much cool stuff in the Star Wars sketchbook. Well, there was an Empire Strikes Back sketchbook and a Return of the Jedi sketchbook. Those 2 I bought myself. I actually bought the Jedi sketchbook, and then a couple of years later, I saw the Empire sketchbook, and I bought that one. I made the mistake of taking my Empire sketchbook to school one day. And I'm still cheesed off about this. Wait, I missed a question. Oh, there was a question earlier about the lawsuit. I'm going to come back to that. See, if I could have super chats, that wouldn't happen. But anyway. I took it to show my art teacher, Mike Lalone, who is a very skilled artist himself. Mike, Coach Lalone, thought it was really neat and that it would be great art inspiration. So did the little white trash so-and-so Yankee kid. I don't even remember that punk's name. But he asked me if he could borrow the book. And I was like, and Coach Lalone was like, let him borrow it. He didn't order me to, but he just said, you should let him borrow. So, you know what? I let him borrow it. My book came back missing the Scout Walkers. Oh, the pages fell out. They fell out. I'm sorry. Well, do you have the pages? No, I left them at home. Bring the pages back. Yeah, okay. They never came back. And then they moved. Like they were literally in Florida for like a month and a half, and then they were gone. They came in the middle of the school year and they left before the end of the school year. So for decades, I've had a damaged Empire Strikes Back sketchbook. And now I always assumed that it would just be you could just go to the store and buy another one. And I always intended to do that. I was always going to go buy a new copy of the Empire Strikes Back sketchbook that was complete. And I just never got around to it. When I started thinking about it, when I pulled my Star Wars sketchbook and Empire Strikes Back sketchbook and Return of the Jedi sketchbook out of storage, I was like, oh yeah, I'll just buy another one. Nope, out of print. But I promised myself one of these days I was going to find it on Adall or eBay or somewhere and get a copy. So I got myself a Christmas present this year. My Christmas present arrived back in November, which I bought again for myself last year. The Hero Quest thing. You guys saw the Hero Quest unboxing video I did. A cracking unboxing, I might add. So I got the Hero Quest set, and I told my wife, I'm like, hey, look, you know, I kind of bought a big expensive thing for myself, and it dropped just before Christmas. So, you know, I said, but if you're going to get me anything, here's a couple of books I want. And she said, okay, go find these. And I got the Empire Strikes Back, but that will get wrapped up and placed under the tree, along with a book about Blade Runner. And presumably some delectables in the stocking. I'm a big guy for stocking. Now, I want to get serious for a second before we run out of time. So I can't go that long. I got the Monday night game happening in 45 minutes. Michael Connor asked, are you following the TSR lawsuit? So here is what I know about the TSR lawsuit. As of the last time I looked, TSR 3, again, making that distinction to separate them from the TSR in 1970s, founded by Gary Gygax and Don Kay and all those guys, and from the TSR that published Gygax magazine and a couple of other games. So TSR 3, the current incarnation of TSR. The last I had was from TSR 3 that they had dropped the lawsuit against Wizards because they filed it in North Carolina, South Carolina. And they would later be filing it in Washington, which is where Wizards of the Coast is. Washington State, not D.C. That's the last bit of information I had. And that they're not doing anything with their GoFundMe or Indiegogo or whatever it was, because that will still apply on. That's all I have. Now, Chris asks, have I ever had Corsendonk? No, I have not. It's another Belgian beer brand, dark and pale, only beer worthy enough to have Our Lady and the Christ Child on the label, which it does. Yeah, no, I like Trappist ales. I just can't get them hardly anymore here. Merid Seuss was big for a long time, and I could go to Total Wine, which is... it's like a Toys R Us, but for booze, and I love it. But I don't think they have it anymore. The GoFundMe looks sus. I'm gonna wait till things start to gel again. Does it look like things were settling in? Like, okay, I had the court document, and I was going to read that to you guys, but things have changed now. So I'm not going to touch it until, both sides build their battle lines and, the Battle Pelennor Fields begins. I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't want to speak it from a position of like, oh, I know what's going on. There's a little sip left. I've been watching that. But I don't want anybody, you guys, TSR3, Wizards of the Coast, random person coming by. I don't want anybody to think that I'm over here saying, hey, I'm an authority. You should pay attention to me on this thing. And I'm not humble bragging or anything silly like that. I just feel like it's not the time yet. When more facts start to drop, when fact finding starts to drop, if settlements start to happen, then I'll have a little bit more that is salient on the subject to express. And I'm sorry if that's not the answer you guys are looking for. I mean, I have an opinion. But I'm not gonna get into it. I don't. Again, I don't feel like we're at the point where really it matters yet what I say. I mean, you know, I could say, thank you, Awig. You know, you make a great point. If someone wants to support the museum, support the museum. Boom. There you go. Right out of the park there. Awig stepped up to the plate, choked up on the bat, saw that line drive coming in. Boom! It's out of here. I think that is the most salient thing right now that you can do, that you should do. So, you know, I started off, I was talking about the cake topper. Cha-ching. I should load this into the workbench so that I have one glass. It's a little Fallout joke there. But anyway, no, I got a text. Was it yesterday? So yesterday was it? No, it was earlier today. The bride, not the bride, not, you know. Not from Kill Bill. No, the bride texted me. Apparently, the wedding coordinator was like, "Oh, I may very well have more clients who want a topper like that." So, you know, that was pretty flattering, you know. So this company, this couple in question might be wanting to do something Lord of the Rings, and I immediately, like, my brain went into overdrive, and I want to get paid for it, like real spendable cash money, you know. Johnny Cash and French Impressionist Claude Monet, Cash Monet. But I would not hate, you know, to do that. That could be a lot of fun. And I've got in mind like a Weathertop cake topper. I don't really want to go into it. I mean, that, you know, nothing's gonna come of it, okay? And I should just stop fucking kidding myself about that. I'm sorry, Padre. My apologies. But nothing's gonna come of it. Nobody's going to roll up and pay me the money that I'm worth or deserve for my efforts. I've beaten the bushes before, and I got the Lost Crypt out. I was able to kind of yank that out from under Gail's feet and get that sold. So you guys got a little tiny chunk of Barkesh Noor. But when it comes, you know, when it comes to D&D stuff, just, you know, things I put my talent and my time into, and maybe it's me, maybe I undersold, maybe I should have never gone out there and been the first person in what a lot of people now consider the OSR and made my stuff free, you know. Maybe that was a mistake. And you can put it in the comments if you think that was a mistake, because you go back to like 2003, 2004. There was no OSR then. It was me. I mean, sure, you had people who occasionally had, you know, maybe something like Caves of Chaos Revisited.txt, which I guess in DOS format, to get that under 8.3, that, let me see, I don't math very well. So CVS CHSRV.txt that they'd pass around on a bulletin board or upload to an FTP site. Who else was out there? Who else was out there? Was anybody else out there doing look and feel AD&D modules and putting them up on the web for you guys? No. No. It was me, baby. It was me. I was the guy. And I looked up in 2008 and suddenly there's this thing called the OSR and people are listening to fucking, jokers who hadn't written a thing since they turned in some twaddle into Dragon magazine prior to the turn of the century or less. They were just bloggers. And sometimes I feel like Abner Doubleday. Abner Doubleday is the creator of baseball. Maybe I shouldn't have put that stuff out there for free. Maybe I should have charged for it right off the bat. Who knows? I could be rolling in tens of dollars if I had done that. Like Harlan Ellison says, man, pay the writer. Pay the writer. Or if you're the writer, to turn it inside out, make sure you get paid. Make sure you get paid. Oh, and I should point something out before I forget. So if you're sitting there, it's like all conversation has come to a stop. If you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, did Bill Sylvie just say that, like, he invented the OSR? Yes, I am. No, let me back off that. You know what? Let me back off that claim a little bit. I would never have invented something as hidebound and screwed up as the OSR. I'm just going to say it's mighty fucking suspect that I put out 4 handmade modules that directly copied the style of early to mid 80s TSR. And then a flood of Goodman Games modules doing that came out. Granted for 3rd edition. Isn't that suspect? Just a little bit, don't you think? Find them, polish them, unless you meant Polish them, in which case I don't even... Sending them to Chicago, wrap them in sausage, polish them, and do an Indiegogo. I can't. They have Greyhawk material in them. You want to talk about lawsuits? You want to talk about trademarks? You want to talk about actual lawyers getting involved? I had Ty Beard on it. Gosh darn it, I'm going to have Ty on this program again someday soon, probably after the first of the year. I'm going to get Ty on. But the last time Ty and I talked about, because I wanted Ty on because I wanted to talk about the OGL, the Open Gaming License. So long story short is I could be here until, well, I mean, it would take me like 5 hours because Ty was on for 5 hours. It was a long stream. I could sum up what Ty said to me thusly. There are no traps in the OGL. My biggest fear with the OGL ever has been somewhere buried in pages of legalese. Was a comma or an if or a but or a semicolon or a hyphen. that would mean an attorney for Wizards of the Coast, or for Hasbro, let's be honest, it's Hasbro. Wizards, I'm sorry, you're only alive because Hasbro wants you. You're an impressum. They could send someone from the downtown office to Glengarry Glen Ross you tomorrow, and honestly, they would probably be better off doing so. And then you would just Thanos fade away like you never were. You would just be a name on their game boxes, which is practically all you are anyway. But, oh, I missed him on Ricada today. I'll have to look out for that one. Anyway, so Ty and I were talking about that, and my concern was, again, that a lawyer for Wizards of the Coast could someday wave his magic wand and say, I'm going to flip this switch, and all of that stuff that you guys have created all belongs to us. Or you have to delete it. You have to take it down. You can't distribute it anymore, or else we'll sue you and win. I thought baked somewhere into it, there was a safety mechanism, a fail deadly switch. A fail deadly switch would be like, okay, imagine like you had a toggle switch under your finger built onto your steering wheel. If you ever fell asleep and your hand fell off the steering wheel, it would just lock up your steering and your brakes and just bring your car to a complete stop, and still get you rear-ended. But the point is, your car would stop. You wouldn't chrome off the road or anything like that. You just... although that's a fail-safe switch. A fail-deadly would be your finger slips off, the car accelerates to 100 miles an hour and targets a school bus. That's more of a fail-deadly switch. I thought there was some kind of fail-deadly mechanism built into the OGL. Ty, brilliant legal mind. Ty went through it and basically, for the first time in 2 decades, was able to talk me off the ledge and say, no, there's not. And he actually wrote a simplified OGL, not to replace the OGL. He wrote one that was a lot less mired in legal soup, that is very easy to understand. And what Ty and I talked about with regards to risk and that sort of thing, tomorrow I could start selling my modules. I could just say, as is, look guys, I know I said these things would be free forever, or not even those. I could just start publishing AD&D modules and setting them in Greyhawk and looking over at Wizards going, and then, of course, they would bring the legal hammer down on me. And then I'd have to get an attorney, and I'd have to go to court, and I'd have to try and fight them over the TSR versus Mayfair thing, which I would maybe possibly eventually win. But here's the thing. I am exceptionally risk averse. I am terrified of legal entanglements. I don't want to meet anyone in a courtroom under fully armed nuclear lawfare. I don't want to do it ever as long as I live. I clench up when I get a traffic ticket. That like vapor locks me. So in discussing it with Ty, it just comes down to I am risk averse. And I can't do it. Can I remove Greyhawk material and replace it? In one case, I did. And I've shown this to you guys before. I'm going to duck out of camera. Don't worry. I'm not getting Zapruder filmed here. I'm just going to lean over. One of my modules you can actually buy. This is from Hellebard Games. My buddies at Hellebard Games did publish one of my classic modules. This is available for Osric and for Castles and Crusades. Now, they ran a special on it, and you guys missed the special, by the way. But you can find this on Drive-Thru RPG. You can find this directly at hellabardgames.com, where they have a limited number. Look at that. Slip-off cover, non-repro blue maps. They have a limited number of actual physical copies at Hellabard Games. So I've done that for one, and Don has been awesome. Hellabard Games is awesome. They do publish my stuff. My stuff being Temple of the Sun. We haven't talked about doing a Greyhawk neutered. This was basically an experiment. So we haven't talked about doing a Greyhawk neutered version of the other modules. And I did it with Temple of the Sun because it's one module and it's easiest, as opposed to WGH 3, 4, and 5, which are a linked series of adventures. And it might be a little bit more difficult. So there's been some thought of moving forward with that. But I don't know. I just don't know. Replacing Greyhawk names should be enough. Yeah, I mean, you know, just putting it out under Osric. There's other stuff too, though. Like there's a few tiny things that Osric doesn't do. Monks. There are no monks in Osric. Which, by the way, Osric devs, if you're out there listening to this, that makes Ty unhappy because he feels the monk is the best class. I happen to believe the best classes are in order: the paladin, the bard, and the ranger, and the magic user. Ty thinks the best class is the monk. Get with it for Osric 3. Bring the monk back. Hey, he's the monk. People say he monks around. But that's yeah. The whole OSR thing just kind of left me. So when people say, oh, but Bill, you are part of the OSR, you'll start a fist fight with me over that. I'm a chunky boy. I might win that one. I don't believe in the OSR, capital T in the capital O, capital S, capital R. You want to talk about playing old school games? A renaissance of old school gaming? That's fine. But don't drag me into the mix with the hucksters and the con men and the bunco artists and the scam organizations that have oozed into the fringes of gaming. The tourists who showed up here. People who had no interest in playing classic D&D. Just soaking their donuts in our coffee. Yeah. Don't ever say Bill Sylvia's OSR, because I'm not. I started it. I founded it. But I'm not part of the OSR. I'm just not. I won't be lumped in with it. But, you know, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he and I were talking about this, and I just said, to quote the great statement. Let me make sure I pronounce this right. Yeah, here we are. Après moi, la deluge. Louis the 15th, by the way. After me, the flood. I don't mean it the same way he did, but in a way I do. In a way I'm kind of that nihilistic. But I will say this. I will, in kind of wrapping up, because I got the Monday night game. That's starting in like 20 minutes. The Padre there said, the innovator is rarely rewarded. It's the guy who figures out how to monetize it that ends up laughing. Go check out the Greg Kinnear movie, Spark of Genius. Or Flash of Genius. I think it's Flash of Genius. That's kind of how I feel sometimes. I've driven people crazy with it. Unfortunately, it's not like there's an OSR organization that rakes in big bucks that I can go after and say, you guys didn't think of any of this until I stuck it out there and I did it. And that's the thing. That is the thing. I ran the risks, guys. I put out the D&D alike modules that use Greyhawk and AD&D. And my webpage was full of AD&D content. Who knew what Wizards of the Coast was going to be like back in 1999? Did you? Did you? How about you? For all we knew, they were masking the same jackbootery in a friendly nerd face, the same stuff that TSR was going to do. We didn't know. We had no idea. But I said, well, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to do it anyway. There's nothing out there like this. And if I could be bothered, I would go dig up posts by me on Usenet where I talked about getting ready to do it and talking to people about what fonts should I use and what should the spacing be like and all that stuff that nobody considered until Bill Sylvie did it. And if Wizards of the Coast had parked the Death Star over my house and I'd said, okay, I'll delete it. And they're like, nope, it's too late for that. Here come the lawyer commandos. It would have been me. It wouldn't have been you people. Not you people. Not you guys. Not you guys. It wouldn't have been the OSR. It wouldn't have been the guys who, looked up around 2007, 2008 and said, oh, there's money to be made here. It wouldn't have been them. No, I put my neck on the line. And then a final analysis, if a book is ever written, if Michael Whitwer ever goes and writes a book about the OSR, about the, about that sort of thing, yeah, no, he'll go talk to more prominent people. It'll never come back to Bill Sylvie, and none of them will say, yeah, I wanted to, but I didn't dare. And then I looked over and, that's just how it is. That's just the way it goes. Michael Connor says, have you considered doing modules for other gaming companies, Artel, Saurian, and The Witcher, for example? Nah, that's not my jam. I'm all about D&D, AD&D, or as close to it as I can get and still sell stuff. I mean, I think Mike Pondsmith over, who did do a little bit of work for TSR, as I understand it, but Pondsmith, he's an innovator. He has a very, very sharp mind. But that's just, I mean, you might as well ask me, would I write a GURPS supplement, or would I do, would I write something for Rifts or Torg or what have you? No, that's not where my heart lies. You get a guy who likes big iron and dropping a 454 out of a farm truck into a Chevy Nova and ripping the tires off the thing at Grand National Super Modifieds. Ask him if he wants to get a computer and finally tune a Volkswagen Passat, and he's going to say, I can appreciate it, but no, I don't want to. And that's kind of what I am. I'm a wrench turner. I work on big iron. Those aren't my jam. I appreciate what they are. I think Mike Pondsmith is a hell of a guy, but it's, it's not my cuppa. It's not my cuppa. So I'm going to go about 6 or 7 more minutes, and I'm going to open up the floor this Monday night. Any questions? Anybody? We got 11 viewers. This is like the nighttime jam is really it's way better than during the day. All right, I just got to say it's way better because I don't think I've had fewer than for the past hour and 10 minutes. I don't think the conversation's been less than like 9 of you guys. But last few minutes open up, and if you're just getting here, I'm sorry. I'm gonna be wrapping up. I got a game to run tonight. In about 12, 13 minutes. Fire away. Ask me anything. Ask me about my moaning and groaning about being, employee 0 of DOS OSR. Ask me about finishing off a bottle of lambic on camera. Oh, there's more. Okay, there's dregs, but still. Ask me about whatever. I'll do my darndest to answer it. So I hope you understand, Michael. I'm not poo-pooing Artel Sorian and their efforts with the Witcher RPG and that sort of thing. Wonderful stuff. One of these days, I've got to drag out my Mekton books, and we'll do a let's read through of Mekton. Mekton 2 plus MTS. If you like building stuff, like giant robot game wise, oh man, Mekton 2 plus MTS, anything you can conceive, you can build in Mekton 2 MTS. I maintain it's a more elegant building system. It's hard. It's very difficult, but it's a more elegant and fun giant robot building system than is Silhouette from DP9. I don't know that DreamPod 9 even does Heavy Gear roleplay anymore. I know they tried to Warhammer Heavy Gear, which sucks. So I'm not sure. Build a ninja robot for Rakeda and Mekton. Does Rakeda play Mekton? And if I built a ninja robot for him, would he even... Nick has 80 bazillion subscribers and 30,000 people on his streams who pour like the value of my house on a nightly basis into his coffers. I doubt Nick Rakeda would stop to scrape me off the bottom of his shoe. I don't say that as a nasty thing, and it just is what it is. Always remember, Samwise Gamgee and Rosie has 13 kids. Use this knowledge to ward off Lord of the Rings fan fiction writers. Oh, Damien, that one is the win. That one is the win. Samwise Gamgee and Rosie have 13 kids. Use this knowledge to ward off Lord of the Rings fan fiction writers. Love it. I love it. Mekton Zeta. Okay, so I have the rules for Mekton Zeta. I tried to get my head around it. Gosh, just MTS is 2 plus MTS. I grokked. Zeta was just... There was something about Zeta that I just could not... And I don't remember now. I honestly don't remember now, but there was something, as I recall, when Zeta came out, I was just like, This doesn't make any sense. I can't make this work. He probably doesn't know what Mechton is, but he likes ninjas and ninjas and robots and ninja robots. Well, you know, I'll paint a Macross Valkyrie 3D print black and send it to him. What is this? I got this. I don't know what this is. What is this? Oh. Sorry. That's my Necrocade impression. I'm sorry. Please don't sue me. Please. All right, guys. I got to get out of here. I got my Monday night game to start in 10 minutes. So thanks, everybody, for stopping by the live stream. I hope you like the title. Like, I wrote that title, and I can't believe I never thought to write that. Earth versus Giant Santa in Terrorama. You'll be scared to death. I could not stop laughing at that. I don't know why. That was the funniest fucking thing when I wrote that tonight. But anyway, I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is a live stream, then AD&D game. So we'll have big fun tomorrow. Oh, what a perfect time to leave, because my other studio light just I hate the fact that, like, that's like a yellow phlegm colored light, and I don't like the way it makes me look on camera. I should have Santa Claus please bring me some decent friggin' batteries for my studio lights. Amen. Or a dummy so I can plug them into the wall. All right, guys, I am seriously gone now. Have fun. I'll see you all tomorrow. More of this. More Christmas Advent, Lego Star Wars. More talk, more chat, and more fun. Thanks for being here, everyone. I will see you tomorrow night. Peace.